Hey, everybody, guess what? It is April 16th, 2021. Welcome to another NPCs Weekly News Roundup. Tonight, Kyle and I are going to be talking about the new Zombies event going on in Warzone right now, what that means coming up for the next season of Warzone in the next week. We're also going to be talking about the Resident Evil showcase and all the things shown off for the next Resident Evil game. And, of course, we'll be talking about a little bit of a surprise thing going on with the PlayStation 3 and how some people cannot update any of their current games on the PlayStation 3. Again, it is April 16th, 2021. We're going to roll that intro and we're going to get things started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another NPCs Weekly News Roundup for the week of November 20th, 2020. It is Friday. It is, where's my date? It's September 18th, 2020 here to our first story, and this is actually breaking news for all of us right now here, too. Figured this is a kind of a big one to cover, of course, with who it is. Joined via Discord by Kyle because we're in the midst of a pandemic still, and, of course, everything is all kinds of crazy. So this thing is a chocker. I mean...
yeah, it's a beast.
It's huge. Doing that we had the Resident Evil stuff, that they were successful with Castlevania. Welcome to another NPC's Weekly News Roundup. And it's the news time. I am joined, of course, by Kyle via Discord. Kyle, hello.
What's up?
Man. All right. And of course, like I said, it's Friday. It's time for some news. There's Kyle. Hey, Kyle.
What's up?
Hey, and look at how much better everybody can see his face. Look at how bright and shining, and I don't know if glowing is the right word. Are you pregnant?
Oh, I definitely glowing, but I'm not pregnant. I tell you what, I've got this
Are you sure?
crazy light on me, so I'm definitely glowing.
Are you sure? Okay, I was going to say, okay, just figured I'd ask. You never know what modern technology can do. You never know what that COVID vaccine can do. You got 5G chips. You've got, protecting you potentially from the virus. Pregnancy, who knows? Who knows what mRNA is going to do?
Not to mention CRISPR, who knows,
That's right. That is absolutely right. Well, as you guys have probably seen, we're doing some fun new things, of course, here on the NPCs channel. You guys probably saw our Overwatch stream this last week. Of course, Kyle did some more Overwatch streaming again tonight. He opened up, how many loot boxes was it tonight, Kyle?
66 news stream, actually, yeah.
66.
But didn't get the skin that I wanted. I did get some pretty cool ones and some pretty cool drops. Just,
Your pajama.
And to taunt me. Yeah, the pajama. And to taunt me, I even got the pajama spray. So,
oh man, that's rough. That is some rough stuff going on. But I still got some of those
freebies to earn via the one-time plays that you, as long as you complete it type thing, you get a free loot box. So there's that to look forward to at least.
I got you there. And of course, we're still in the midst of the Overwatch Archives event. So if you haven't gone and played any of that, go do it. Earn yourself some loot boxes and have yourself some fun, at least until Overwatch 2 comes out. In the meantime, we've got some news to talk about. And of course, we're going to hop right into our title story of the night. We are going to be looking at this story from Kotaku: Minecraft Caves and Cliffs split into two, partially delayed. Citing the ambitious nature of the game world changing update along with the current state of the real world, Mojang today announced, or Mojang, I can never remember how to exactly say it, announced it's splitting Minecraft's Caves and Cliffs updates into two parts. Part 1 will be out this summer as planned, with the second half coming during the holiday season. One of the most requested updates in Minecraft history, Caves and Cliffs will revamp the way worlds are generated in the game, adding new cave biomes, proper mountains, and all sorts of new building blocks. The update was announced this past October during Minecraft Live 2020 with a planned release date of summer 2021. According to today's announcement, Caves and Cliffs has been split into two parts. The first, with the company FAQ, says will include cute and fun mobs, cool items, and new blocks, will arrive this summer. The second part is due out during the 2021 holiday season and will include the sweeping changes to world generation that give Caves and Cliffs update its name. Sounds more like the meat of the update is happening at the end of the year, with some shiny new stuff halfway through to keep players happy. As long as I get my promised goats and axolotls, I'll be fine. So, of course, that last little blurb is from the writer of that article there at Kotaku. That was Mike Fay. But, yeah, it's a given. I think we've experienced enough delays because of COVID, and that was quite honestly the way they explained it in their announcement, is that they went and said just because of the the trials and tribulations that is the pandemic, working from home, being separated, of course, trying to build this game, or at least the update for this game remotely is just not working out properly for them. So unfortunately, they're not able to get everything finished like they were hoping to. So we're going to get a split update and then have everything put together, of course, completely by the end of the year. And Kyle, I know I of course play Minecraft. But do you play Minecraft at all though?
It's been a hot minute since I've played personally. I used to play it a lot. I had a world going clear back on 360 that I had mined out a good chunk of just like basically what would have been underneath the mantle of this planet, that it was clear down to lava. Basically, you wound up walking down a stairway to a lava pit. But I
Wow.
don't know. Yeah. I haven't played it a ton on the new consoles, and I haven't seen any of the newer updates. I think the last one I saw was when they added villages. So,
Okay. What? Wait a minute. Villages. You're
like
village.
villages and the villagers, and yeah. So it's
That's
been
that's.
a
I was gonna say
hot minute.
that's some pretty like standard Minecraft stuff. That's geez. I mean, you're missing out on all the fun of like the illagers. You're missing out on the fun of the end cities. You're missing out on the fun of
Yeah.
um trying to mate and breed panda bears. You know, there's a lot of that you're missing
What?
out.
You can run into panda bears now?
Yes, they have panda bears now, and of course, you know how you feed like food to two animals and they can mate and you can have yourself like an animal baby right there. You can do that with pandas, but one of the pandas gets on its back. It's very yeah, it's definitely like yeah, not what you would expect it to be, but sure enough, that's how they do it. So
Wow.
congrats
That's
there.
funny.
That's information you needed for your life today,
I
Kyle.
wonder if it's as hard on Minecraft to get captive pandas to mate as it is in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Wah wah.
Wow. Wow. And this is why you do this and don't work in any sort of animal breeding program. So thank
Right?
God for that. But really, I don't know, Kyle, if you'd seen anything on the Caves and Cliffs update. So it's especially important for what Minecraft has been, anyways, because a couple of the neglected biomes have actually been the caves and
Mhm.
literally the cliff sides. So they're going to be making mountains larger. They're actually going to be making the size of chunks larger in respect to the actual height and depth you can get to. So you'll actually be able to mine to negative depths without even hitting bedrock yet.
Oh, that'll be
They're going to
cool.
be adding in underwater or underground lakes and aquifers that you can swim through. There's a new mob that they're introducing actually in caves as well too, called the Warden. That, if I remember properly, it's sensitive to noise. So as long as you hold still when it's walking by, it
Mhm.
will just pass right by you. Otherwise, apparently, it's a beast to take down. Of course, yeah, on the mountainside, of course, with everything being much taller, I think it's increasing the height of the world as well too, from 256 up, I think another 32 or 64 blocks. So it's definitely getting a huge jump
Hmm.
up in size. And then, of course, like it said there, they're adding axolotls. Of course, is a mob that you can find, or a
Which I have
non-hostile mob.
no clue what that is.
If you go look one up, I guarantee you'll know what it is. Go look really quick just to make sure you'll know what an axolotl is. Let's see, AXOLOTLS.
Oh yeah, I do.
See, yeah, there you go. And then they're adding goats as well into, so at least they're furthering out the mob. So now for non-hostile like farm type mobs, you'll have your cows, your pigs, your chickens. You'll have sheep. You'll have your alpaca / llama. You'll have your horses, your donkeys, and now of course goats. So
Yeah, they've added a ton in since I've played.
then maybe we need to get your ass playing again. Do the
Maybe.
news do the news completely in Minecraft.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, that would be fun. Maybe not. I don't know. It depends on the person. Anyway, so yeah, if you're one of those who are looking forward to this update coming out, just like me and my family were, of course, you're going to have to wait just a little bit longer, at least for half of it. So be on the lookout, of course, for that first part. And then, we'll see how things go going into the rest of the year. Now, Kyle, you get to talk about one of our favorite games. I don't know how we really categorize Warzone, but let's hop into this story here, Kyle, and you can talk to us about this new Warzone update coming up here soon, or at least what's going on now with some fun zombie modes.
Yeah, Call of Duty Warzone players are turning into zombies. The zombies have taken over Verdansk. Verdansk has finally been overrun with zombies as of Thursday. Contamination levels on the Call of Duty Warzone map have reached 100%, and even players themselves aren't safe from turning into the undead. Now the entire map has been affected. It seems certain areas where the zombies first arrived on Verdansk have become contaminated with nuclear radiation. If players enter these zones, they start to take damage that will eventually kill them. But apparently, according to YouTuber Jack Frags, death isn't the end if the radiation gets you. Instead, at the team-based modes, players return to life as a zombie themselves. In Raven Software's latest in-universe briefing, there is a mention of specific gas masks, which could be a new type of equipment that let players safely or more safely explore these irradiated zones. On top of that, there's a note about critical safety measures, along with a picture that appears to show zombies getting electrocuted, but it's not clear what this means either. For now, these nuclear zones are only located at the uh, Vodenoy shipwreck and the prison, the first two areas on Verdansk that were infected by the undead. However, it seems like the infection could quickly spread over the next week. One thing we know for sure is something big and bad is coming to Verdansk next week. In a tweet on Tuesday, Raven Software seemed or teased a massive potentially nuclear event that would strike on the island on April 21st. The massive event would mark the end of Warzone Season 2, setting up for some huge changes when Season 3 begins.
Yep, and that's where we're at right now, of course, is that yeah, the zombie stuff is expanding around, and of course we're at a point now that the nuclear missiles that have been flying around are soon enough going to turn their ways straight down to the ground and blow something up. And we know, of course, from teases that we're going to be seeing potentially a throwback to the 80s, at least on how Verdansk looked in the 80s before the dam was built, while the stadium was under construction, and so on. But yeah, I've been watching a bunch of different videos of people who have been going into these radiated zones, and they actually get taken down a lot faster than being stuck in the gas. So it definitely causes some problems. And then the fact that you can even change into a zombie, though, you know, is definitely cool. Because did you even get to check out the Halloween event this last year?
I didn't know.
Okay, it was. I've got to say, it was definitely a very popular event, and it's one that I had a lot of fun with because it kept the game going. That you could spawn into a zombie, and then as long as you picked up enough files of like from when other people had died, you could spawn back in as a human and just keep things going and going. Kept things busy. So now they're really leaking out more of the zombie stuff that became popular in Black Ops, and are kind of incorporating it more and more into Warzone now. So
I had heard, and did we report on it too? Maybe that the next Call of Duty is supposed to be World War II, right?
we did talk about it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now in the world of these types of shooters, like the military shooters, because of course we had the whatever, like, was it 13 Days in Fallujah that came out that generated a lot of controversy. We've got Battlefield 6 that's supposedly coming down the line here very soon.
Right.
That's going to have a potential battle royale mode with it as well too, but it's going back to the modern warfare type setting. And then now,
Right.
of course, we've got Warzone, which is, and of course with stuff with like Black Ops Cold War, and that we're really kind of flipping the dial back in time again.
I guess my question is, how is a new Call of Duty that goes back in time going to affect Warzone? Are they going to continue with the zombie infection and, you know, continue to go off the rails with this weird campaign, or are they going to reel it back in and say, oh, this is a, you know, pre where we're at now, this is why something might be happening? I wonder how they're going to work it in, or if they're going to work it into Warzone at all.
That's a good question, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they did. I think the biggest thing you're going to see, at least in the investment they made in Warzone, is that a lot of people are taking a page out of the book that Epic has written now for Fortnite, with the way they make these season beginning, season end things as interactive as they can. And that's why the zombies have been around as long as they have been on the map right now, and where things have gotten to this point. So they're really trying to make sure that as they introduce new stuff, that it continues on, at least in Warzone setting, kind of as the common point for everything, given the fact that nothing really in the Call of Duty universe lines up. Like, it doesn't go Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3 sure do, but it's not like the old Call of Duties back from, the World War II part line up with Modern Warfare series, line up with Black Ops or anything. They're all separate kind of entities in that same world that is Call of Duty. But they're at least trying to bridge it together, and Warzone seems to be the way for them to do that. So I don't doubt that for a second.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just be interesting to see. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to check out this new Warzone stuff that's going on, though, for sure.
Definitely. It's not bad. The zombie stuff isn't too bad. It kind of can become cumbersome because not only are you fighting against other people, you're also fighting against the zombies if you go and trigger them. So you've got a nice chaotic situation to be in. So you better make sure that you're kitted up just right before you go take them in. But Alex has added here, for a while, a zombie package was pretty much obligatory for action games. Figured it had kind of tapered off, but maybe it's coming back. And that's true, Alex, is that you'd add in like a zombies mode or an alien mode or something like that was completely away from the norm. And Black Ops did a lot of that. I don't know if it was the original Black Ops. I think it was Black Ops 2 that introduced like the zombies mode and such. For like the Call of Duty universe, and that was really
no, that was clear back in World at War.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it wasn't even Black Ops. You're right. Thank you. Yeah. So even so, is that's been kind of a mainstay for people, is that when the zombies events have been added in, or at least the zombies is like a mode in these standalone games as a multiplayer thing. Now that Warzone's become the bread and butter for Activision, at least for just concurrent, players compared to your standard Modern Warfare multiplayer and Black Ops multiplayer. They're trying to really continue to bring people in. So it's not necessarily a surprise that they're actually doing it. You're not seeing it though necessarily for everybody. It's just, this is one of those things that Call of Duty is known for one of their little, side things. Doesn't really affect the story per se. It's at least, in the original stuff, it was just one of those things. But now it's really ingrained kind of into the story that, I guess, whatever story there is in Verdansk. I don't know if there is a story.
Zombies has its own story now, but I don't know. It's just kind of evolved that way. I think it's all because of, fan theories getting turned into actual like secrets and stuff. But
oh yeah,
I don't know.
No, I that's most likely it too. I think it's just that you get enough hype over something and the devs are listening, and they'll definitely take it, probably crank that knob all the way up to 11 to make something like that happen. Almost positive. Right. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on here to our next story and what's most likely going to probably kick us out of the business that we're in right now. So this story comes to us from VG 24/7. And this is a surprise, I think, but this might also be kind of in competition to G4 coming back, though, too, is Ubisoft launches new content channel GTV featuring programming inspired by the video game industry. Ubisoft announced the UK launch of its new content channel GTV will take place tomorrow, April 15th, or, well, today. Ubisoft's GTV will be aired, or no, what is it? What is today? Today's 16th? Today's 16th. So yesterday it launched. Yeah. Ubisoft's GTV will be aired on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, and feature a wide range of original programming inspired not only by Ubisoft, but by the video game industry at large. You can expect the content to go behind the scenes on how games are created and celebrating the people who make them and play them, as well as events in the gaming calendar. The first season of shows will feature a talk show hosted by J.N. Lopez with guests including Ellie Gibson, Nicola Adams, Rufus Hound, and Pete Donaldson to talk about video games covering a wide variety of themes such as comedy, health, or sport. Versus, another new show hosted by Frankie Ward, one of Britain's esports hosts, brings together a roster of UK Twitch and YouTube content creators to compete with one another. Initial programming highlights include Cafe XP, an improv entertainment show hosted by actor and comedian Barbatunde Aleshe, where celebrities such as Asim Chaudhry, Els the Witch, and Julia Hardy discuss gaming and undertake some challenges. I have no idea who these people are. Then
Yeah,
there's
neither do I.
Fragments, a docu-series that takes a look at the human interest stories across an array of topics across the UK esports scene. Finally, there's ARTY, a social-first episodic series focusing on artists' work inspired by video games, featuring graffiti artist Flake and more to be announced. The channel will broadcast multiple pieces of original content per week, including documentaries, talk shows, live shows, shorts, and more. Uh, this seems like almost like a way to capitalize on G4 TV coming back. It really does, at
I
least for the
think so
UK
too.
market. But
Yeah.
I mean, they're pulling in a lot of people from what I imagine is the UK video game scene. I mean, that's at least who I imagine everybody is who's mentioned here. So I don't necessarily know where the market's going to be at with it, but it's interesting that Ubisoft is actually putting this much of an investment into creating something like this right now, seeing as how we've seen ventures from other companies before, and they usually don't last more than a couple months before getting shut down, just because there's not enough viewership.
Right, and especially when you have G4 TV coming back, and it's going to be talking about Ubisoft titles, and they may even promote Ubisoft titles if they bring back some sort of rating show, like but I I don't know why you would want to compete with someone that would talk about your product in a good light. Yeah, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm looking at just like so far looking at their YouTube channel, they've got only a hand like about 2,000 or so subscribers, if I saw that right.
Hmm.
They've only got 3 pieces of content up now, besides their launch trailer, and even those videos have a handful of views. You're talking in the hundreds in that too. So, however, exactly it is that they're planning on handling the marketing of this and how they're going to actually appeal to those in the gaming world, especially if you've got other sources of information or sources of entertainment in the gaming world too. Especially you look at like the roster with what Rooster Teeth offers with Funhouse and Achievement Hunter.
Right.
You look at your standalone YouTubers like Markiplier or Jacksepticeye and such. Doctor Disrespect, of course, is very popular on YouTube now too. So what you're seeing here is it's like they're trying to branch out for something, or even maybe become like the Vice of video game content or something. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen any like of the content on Vice, the actual channel on, if you actually pay for a regular
I
TV
don't think
service.
so.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like that's where they're trying to hit on the demographic here. This doesn't look like it's necessarily for like kids. Like,
Hmm.
I could see like my oldest kid watching this, being 16 and all, but I can't
Right.
imagine anybody younger like my younger kids actually watching anything on here. It doesn't look like that falls into their area. So I don't know what they're trying to do. Um, I just don't see it lasting more than a couple months. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, and
Uh,
it kind of, I guess,
hmm,
it depends on the support that
that's true.
Ubisoft is willing to back it with. Um, Something like that. That's a major endeavor, and I mean, if you expect to start a channel like that and not put any funding or any time and effort into it, it's gonna fail. You know.
Absolutely.
I
Uh, Yeah, I wonder if they're kind of looking at maybe putting stuff out there, seeing what latches on, and then start cutting away programming as time goes on. It's like, let's keep doing the stuff that's bringing in the views and that. It's interesting from just being Ubisoft, though, doing it.
Right. I would think that being Ubisoft, that it would be something that's released direct through, what is it that they use now, Ubisoft Connect, or direct through their website, like they've done other presentations before.
Hmm.
um I see that being more viable, putting out smaller amounts of content. This seems like a big endeavor for what they're I guess trying to accomplish. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'll check out a couple of their other videos here. I thought that they had launched
Yeah.
today, and I ran out of time, I guess, to go and look at that. I didn't realize it was yesterday. I had my dates mixed up in my head there, so apologies for that, folks. But if you want to take a look into stuff like that, of course, go look for GTV on YouTube. Probably the best place to watch it, of course, and go take a look and see what their content is like there, and let us know what you think. We'll check it out ourselves though too. With that, of course, let's move on here to our next story. And Kyle, did you happen to tune into any of this on Resident Evil? Did you happen to go and look at anything?
No, I had heard about some of the stuff, just in other stuff that I had read, not this particular article, but I didn't get a chance to check out the showcase, unfortunately.
Yeah, I really didn't either. I had to kind of piecemeal it as things went on, but let's talk about it anyway.
Right.
So, Kyle, lead us here through this article from GameSpot that is summarizing the Resident Evil showcase.
Resident Evil Village gameplay, Mercenaries mode, upcoming demos, Resident Evil 4 VR, and more from the April 2021 showcase. The most recent Resident Evil Showcase event took place on April 15th in celebration of the franchise's 25th anniversary. During the live stream, we were treated to a brand new trailer and gameplay footage for the upcoming Resident Evil Village. We also learned more about other Resident Evil projects Capcom is working on, including upcoming Netflix series, a special Resident Evil 4 overhaul, and a Dead by Daylight crossover. Here are some of the biggest announcements from April's Resident Evil Showcase event. Starting out with Resident Evil Village, we'll get multiple demos. If you're looking to play Resident Evil Village early and you're a PlayStation fan, you're in luck. PS4 and PS5 owners will get access to the game's Village demo and Castle demo early, uh, two separate 30-minute experiences. The whole thing is actually kind of confusing with different windows available for players to download and play each of the demos. You can learn more about what to expect, of course, through the website, but just be prepared. It's kind of wonky. Um, they did release the new trailer. The new trailer for Resident Evil Village shows off more of the eponymous village at the center of the game, including its large cast of characters. And of course, we get to see more of our favorite giant lady.
Yes.
And Resident Evil Village brings back Mercenaries mode. With Mercenaries mode back for the first time since Resident Evil 6 and the first time in first person, Capcom also showed off some of the new features, perks, and abilities you can expect, including powers, bonuses, and the ability to purchase new weapons between waves of enemies. So, kind of cool new features. Um, and then Resident Evil 4 returns in VR. Capcom also announced Resident Evil 4, a complete overhaul of the classic game that reworks from a third person to a first person shooter that makes use of the Oculus Quest 2's motion controls for interacting with objects, using firearms and slicing away at the enemies with your combat knife. So cool stuff to look forward to in VR, I guess, if you
Absolutely.
haven't already played it. But if you have, it might be worth checking out. And then Resident Evil comes to Dead by Daylight. Of course, Preston would be excited about this one. Dead by Daylight will have a crossover with Resident Evil, but the brief teaser did not announce which characters are coming to the cooperative survival game. The full reveal will take place during an upcoming Dead by Daylight live stream set for May 25th. And then the final piece of information we have, the Resident Evil Infinite Darkness comes to Netflix this summer. Capcom and Netflix have been teasing the Resident Evil Infinite Darkness for a few months, but now we know a bit more about it, including the release date. Resident Evil Infinite Darkness is coming to Netflix in July 2021. It is set 2 years after the events of Resident Evil 4 and stars Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield. It also features President Graham, father to Ashley, whom Leon was sent on a special mission to rescue in Resident Evil 4, of course. But lots of Resident Evil stuff to cover there. What do
Yeah,
you
there
think?
is. I was actually a little surprised to see that we got a Resident Evil 4 VR announcement.
Hmm.
I think that was really what confused me more than anything.
I think
Um,
that's actually taking place of the Resident Evil 4 remaster that they were previously talking about that was supposed to rework it for the next gens. I think this is what it was.
yeah, and I guess it's interesting to at least see that it's Oculus Quest. They must have really had some sort of interesting
Yeah.
partnership there then with Facebook to actually release it there. Of course, because Oculus is owned by Facebook. But it is
Hmm.
interesting though, at least that that's what's going to happen. And for anybody who already owns a Quest or Quest 2, probably worth it to actually go pick up and give it a try. See what you actually think of it. Because I mean, Resident Evil in VR, the only thing that there's been so far is Resident Evil 7, and that's just been for PlayStation VR. I don't think it ever made
Right.
its way to PC, for VR experiences yet. I don't think it did. I know
I think
7's
I
on
think you can.
PC.
I think you might be able to pick it up on Steam in VR.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm not certain though. Really and truly though, the Oculus Quest is cheap enough now that if you're a fan of VR games, it's worth picking up. I mean, it's probably the least expensive, best quality piece of equipment for VR that you can get out there. If you're going bang for buck and you're on a budget, you'd probably pick up a Quest anyway. So,
I think that's yeah. I think that's fair. I did just happen to look though, so it looks like Resident Evil 7's VR support is only with PlayStation VR right now. They never
oh,
actually did an
really?
expansion of it to PC. I guess there was
Mm,
some sort of exclusivity agreement there that they had set up so that way PSVR could be the main one for X amount of time, but whether or not that's lapsed yet or is set to lapse here soon, it hasn't really been said yet. So it looks like you're going to only be able to experience Resident Evil 7 in standard mode on PC, at least until the Oculus Quest version of Resident Evil 4 comes out here. So
well,
this is what you
geez, get
got.
with the program, Capcom.
I know, what a damn shame. Well, guess what? We got more Capcom news, Kyle. You ready for this one?
I'm ready for this one.
You ready for this one? All right, let's talk about this here. This is from IGN, and Capcom, of course, got in some trouble because they got hacked this late last year, and now we know exactly how they did it, or at least how they were hacked. So from IGN here, Capcom reveals how hackers carried out last year's massive ransomware attack. Capcom says COVID-19 is partly to blame. Hackers were able to gain access to Capcom's internal servers via an old VPN device, Capcom revealed in a news update posted to their publisher's official blog. I know it's rough. The subsequent attack allowed hackers to make off with more than 1 terabyte of sensitive information, including source code, planned release schedules, and other data. The attack also compromised the information of more than 15,000 people, though Capcom says no credit card information was sent. Capcom provided the helpful diagram below to show how the attack was carried out. So let me go ahead and see if my thing zooms that in. We could take a look there. It was just simple enough that they just were able to connect into a VPN that was an old VPN device that was sitting
Oh,
around and were able to get in and hit what they needed to.
man,
Yep. So
that's
Capcom
terrible.
what a pain in the ass, huh? Capcom
Yeah.
partly blamed the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic for the conditions leading to the ransomware attack. According to the IT specialist, unauthorized access to the company's internal network was acquired in October 2023. A cyber attack carried out on an older backup VPN device that had been maintained at its North American subsidiary. At that time, the Capcom Group, including the North American subsidiary, had already introduced a different new model of VPN devices. However, due to the growing burden on the company's network stemming from the spread of COVID-19 in the state of California, where this North American subsidiary is located, one of the aforementioned older VPN devices remains solely at this North American subsidiary as an emergency backup in case of communication issues, and it became the target of the attack. The device in question has already been removed from the network at this time. So I think that's simple enough to at least share there. We talked about this. We talked about this hack when it originally happened and how much stuff was taken because, we had stuff leaked for Street Fighter. We had stuff leaked for Resident Evil. We had.
We knew about Ghost and Goblins months before it even was
Yep.
announced for Nintendo, so
Yep, exactly. And so
this was
now,
a heavy duty attack.
yeah,
And apparently it was a simple mistake on someone's behalf. So
Yeah, and unfortunately, the pandemic really threw a lot of things technical into overdrive because the scale of work from home type stuff or remote work has never been seen before, at least at this scale in our lives. And of
Right.
course, now that the world really can support it, our world's internet infrastructure can actually support things like this. It's not necessarily a surprise, but these older devices, sometimes you don't think about them, and it looks like, no, excuse me, because it was in the process of being replaced. It just was one that wasn't able to get hit, and they left it as a backup because they knew it worked. But
Yeah,
what a shame! What a
that's
shame that's all it was
terrible.
that did it. I mean, it can happen though. These older devices get picked up and looked at, and people are able to figure out exactly how to get around things. Sniffing credentials out and getting information to get in there. But the fact though is that they stole 1 terabyte of data, and there are network things in place to actually go and monitor that traffic over VPN to say like
That's what I was
there's a
gonna
terabyte
say.
of data.
Couldn't they look at that and just be like, "Hey, why is this channel open? We haven't communicated to that device in how long?
Yeah,
Cut
why is
that out."
somebody Yeah, unless it was pulled data like over X amount of time, they didn't just go in and hit a download of 1 terabyte in one go. But if they pulled parts of it, of course, that it wouldn't have triggered any sort of, you know, uh, alerts or something. But again, it doesn't matter. It's already too late. That's how they got hit, and the device is gone now. They know better, and I guess it's going to depend on whatever happens next with the data, though, too, because I don't think we've seen much else out there except for we know that everything is out circulating, and we've already had the list of things that Capcom's been working on that we didn't actually expect to see or hear about for at least another year to 2 years.
Mhm.
But I don't know where else the data is at right now, though. I don't know where anything else is sitting from it, but who knows? It's very possible we might see
Right.
some more things from them here in the very near future. But update your shit, people. Update your stuff. Get some new things.
Yeah. Always stay on top of your security.
Always, always stay on top of your security. Don't reuse passwords. Use trusted websites. Make sure if you're connecting to something that you're connecting to something that you know of, you know that it works well, you know that it's protected, you know that it's safe. And above all else, just come on. We've all been on the internet for long enough that we know better. But I'll leave it with that. I'm not your parent. I'm just here telling you the news. That's all on you. Now, with that, of course, because of our expansion into the world of hardware, of course, talking on PC things, though, too, we got ourselves a news story here from PC Gamer talking about some new AMD Ryzen APUs. So, Kyle, let's talk about these. Go ahead and tell us a story here from PC Gamer about these new Ryzen APUs.
AMD launches new Ryzen 5000G series APUs, promising to make it available to DIYers this year. The new chips are OEM only right now, but AMD is promising that later this year we'll be able to buy the Zen 3 APU on their own, stock willing. AMD's latest Zen 3 powered Ryzen 5000 APUs have finally launched, but whether they're really the greatest depends on your point of view about uh, excuse me, about the weighting of the CPU or GPU power. Like the previous generation, the new G series chips are OEM only at launch, which means if you were hoping to bag one for a new system you're building, you may have to go to the gray market instead.
Hmm.
This curious mix of Zen 3 processing and Vega graphics is only being shipped to system builders to make machines for now, and not the DIY crowd. That is coming later on, however, as AMD has told us that is bringing the best processing for gaming to the new exciting OEM desktop system in the coming weeks, and will make it available for DIYers to purchase in the channel later this year. AMD did say something similar when the Ryzen 4000 G series CPU or G series chips launched. Excuse me. I'm stumbling over my own words. Though in a more vague, there are next gen APUs coming to both 400 and 500 series motherboards kind of way. I guess maybe these are the next gen APUs AMD was referring to almost a year ago. On one hand, the current DIY denial is a shame because without actual graphics cards that you can buy right now, having a chip with a vaguely decent level of GPU power baked into it certainly helps. But on the other hand, it's almost like AMD has been steadily eroding the graphics silicon instead of the APUs from the generation to generation. It's also not like this is the only route to the Zen 3 CPU anymore, thanks to an increasing level of the stock availability within retailers. It's now at least possible to buy the Ryzen 7 5800X, though that is the least exciting of the Ryzen 5000 series desktop chips. The Ryzen 9 5900X and the Ryzen 5600X are currently MIA. Um, it is still the latest 7 nanometer chiplet design with the 8 cores and 16 threads and PCIe 4.0 support. The 6 new Ryzen G series APUs being released today come in basic flavors: quad core, hex core, and octa core, each with 65 watt and 35 watt version for the super small builds. These are the 3 levels of the GPU support in each, though sadly we're still talking about Vega-based graphics silicon using the old GCN design rather than the more modern Navi and RDNA architecture. The top chips come with 8 computing units or 512 GCN cores, with the Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 3 APUs supporting 7 CUDA cores, or is that CUDA cores?
Compute units.
Compute units. Sorry. 448 cores and 6 compute units and 384 core design. Compared with the old 3400G and the 11 compute units GPU that looks a little miserably, considering we're missing the capable graphics cards right now. But the boosted clock speed in the modern Ryzen 4000 and 5000 G series chips actually pushes them ahead of the older, slower, more core-heavy chips.
Okay. Well, interesting, Kyle. There is some more here. I don't know really if you want to carry on with it or not, but
yeah, I think the important takeaway is that the Ryzen chips are still coming. The problem is they do have the hangups with the current chips that just aren't available, and making these available is also just kind of a crutch in making some of those available as well, because you're still going to want people that, or still have people wanting those particular processing units. So
yeah, and I think one of these things here is that AMD really seems to just like have almost like halfway given up on their APUs, because Intel has their graphics baked into their CPUs. So that way, if you pop one in, you can at least get things set up. You won't be able to really play games, but you'll at least be able to go ahead and get your computer set up while you're waiting for a GPU to come in. AMD is notorious for not really releasing chips that have these in here, except in those APU specific models. And almost every single AMD motherboard that's out right now has a display port or an HDMI port on it that you just can't use unless you go buy one of these chips. So for those of you who are system builders who need to have something that's kind of like an all-in-one to help, especially if you are waiting on a GPU or whatever, these are going to be important. But the fact that they're limiting them to OEM system builders first before they are, before they're actually releasing the stock to everybody else is interesting.
I think that's kind of expected, though, especially with the fact that you look at the OEM system builders are the ones that are also getting the graphics cards right now. So why not push the highest processing power with the highest processing cards? Plus, they're probably getting a higher profit margin selling to those guys currently.
Very possible. Very, very possible too. But yeah, it is something like I have a family friend who I do a lot of IT stuff for, and they're right now in the market to upgrade their computer. And because their computer is probably about 10 years old now, and they use it to design stuff for their business. So they definitely need something that has a little bit more oomph, and something like this would definitely help.
Right.
Yeah. So if they could ever release those soon, then I could at least get something built out for them, and they'd be better off. But in the meantime, everything else is just too expensive. Having something integrated like this would make things much easier. But here
By
we are.
far.
Here we are. Well, guess we got to wait for more Ryzen CPUs then. Damn it. Why do they got to keep messing with us, Kyle? Why they got to keep doing that? I know you're still waiting on your Ryzen 9, so damn. Well,
Yeah. I figure at this point, whatever comes first, if it's the 5900 or the 5950, I'm just gonna buy it up.
yeah, you really need to make sure you grab it quick before anybody else does, because you're gonna
Yeah.
sooner you can grab that, the better.
Yeah.
Well, in other disappointing news, of course, we kind of knew that this was coming down the line with Sony, but here we are, of course, having to experience it firsthand. I don't know if you've seen anything yet on your side, Kyle, but I guess we'll have to, because I know you have a PlayStation 3 still, don't you?
I do. I was actually going to plug it in to check some of the stuff out to see if any of the stuff that I have needs updates and couldn't update. So
Oh no, Kyle. You were about to be in for a bad day here with this one. So let's just hop right into it with this story then from Games Radar. PS3 players are reportedly unable to download certain games patches. This includes Little Big Planet, Journey, Lego Star Wars, and more. PlayStation 3 players are reporting that several games are not receiving update patches ahead of the digital store's closure. According to a thread on the PSN Profiles forum, as well as several comments in a Recetera thread, I think that's how you call it that, players aren't able to download PS3 patches that are essential for online play and to earn trophies, whether players own the game digitally or physically. It's currently affecting several titles that include Battlefield 4, Gran Turismo 5, Journey, Little Big Planet, Game of the Year Edition, and LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, plus many more. The patches aren't disappearing in a uniform manner. Little Big Planet's Game of the Year Edition is affected, but the standard version of the game is not. While only certain territories are affected for Battlefield 4 and Gran Turismo 5, so there's a possibility that it could be a bug causing these issues rather than a result of the upcoming store's closure. As announced a few weeks ago, PlayStation will be shutting down the PlayStation Store for PS3 and Vita this summer, which also affects the web versions of these stores. As confirmed by Sony, once the PS Store shuts down for those consoles affected, players will no longer be able to purchase new digital games through the service or download any patches. So the end is nigh for the PlayStation 3, whether this is a bug or not. And it's just one of those things that... it's just one of those things that's kind of a shame that, obviously stuff can't keep going. But, I mean, what's a person to do? Once these things are gone is, that's basically it, right?
That's exactly it. And, a lot of it has to do with the fact that right now Sony doesn't really support the whole backwards compatibility thing. Whereas
No, they don't.
Microsoft and, even you look at, who was it that just announced that they were baking it into their software? I don't want to say it was Ubisoft. Maybe it was Ubisoft.
I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember, but I was just hearing about it today. But they're baking it into their software, the learning, the deep learning software. So I mean, it brings more reason for those games to be brought in, forward into the future. When you've got your consoles are even putting it in their hardware. Xbox has it, and they've talked about it before that they've got that deep learning super sampling built into the system. Now, why wouldn't you want to take advantage of that, even if it only does minute things to a classic game? Why not even try it out? I mean,
that's
it's
a very
cool,
good point,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good point. That it's like, why don't they make the investment into it? But it seems like we've really known what the focus has been for Sony on backwards compatibility since the PlayStation 5 was announced. I mean, they did talk about some backwards compatibility stuff, but as things went on and more stuff was announced and talked about, we really started to see where their priorities were at. And that was just new generations of games for the new console, and that was it. Right. So, yeah, this is really going to hurt, I think, going down the line, because we've seen it in the past with games with multiplayer aspect where the developer shuts down the servers for multiplayer purposes. People were able to scrape netcode and build their own, their own multiplayer servers. This isn't the same way unless someone can hack a PlayStation 3 with these games on it and those patches and somehow pull those files to be able to share with everybody else, at least in some form that the PlayStation can recognize. But
Right.
I don't know if
And I
that's
mean,
even possible.
you're looking at a unit that really does have its own built-in half-life. I mean,
Yeah,
once the batteries
absolutely.
die and once it can't connect in anymore, then it's done.
Hmm.
It's gone. All your games are gone from PlayStation 3 that you had downloaded on the system. It's just to the ether. So, I mean, it's a little bit different approach to than some of the other uh digital markets are taking. I mean, even Nintendo allowed you to bring your Wii games up to the Wii U, and they're still continuing some Wii U services. So it
Yeah.
it's kind of a changing market, and it'll be interesting. Once again, I know we've said it before, more and more recently in our videos, that it'll just be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're just at the point now that the PlayStation 3, it hasn't been manufactured in a few years now. PlayStation 4, it just went out this last year to make room for the PlayStation 5. It's just a matter of time before everything PlayStation 3 wise is completely shut down, and it's just getting closer and closer to that day.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap up here with this last story so we can actually find out what Sony did with that money that they're saving from shutting down all those servers for the PlayStation 3. So, Kyle, let's wrap up tonight here after you take a giant swig of that Rockstar.
Oh,
Talk
just a
to us
sip.
here. There you go. Talk to us here about this story from Gamasutra about Epic and funding. What's going on with them?
Epic nets $1 billion in funding, including $200 million investment from Sony.
See, like I said, it
Epic,
came from them. It came from them turning off the servers and saving money on the power bill, on the internet bill, everything. So that's where
right?
they put it. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Epic Games has secured a $1 billion or one excuse me, yeah, $1 billion. I'm just balking at that, in funding to support its long-term vision for the metaverse. Notably, the round places Epic equality valuation at $28.7 billion and includes a $200 million strategic investment from Sony, which last year purchased a minority share in the Fortnite development for $250 million. Epic founder and
Hmm.
CEO Tim Sweeney said the cash will allow the company to accelerate its work around creating social experiences in Fortnite, Rocket League, and Fall Guys, which while continuing to expand the Epic Game Store, Unreal Engine, and Epic Online services. The sentiment was echoed by Sony chairman, president, and CEO Kenichiro Yoshida, who said that the PlayStation maker was excited to strengthen its collaboration with Epic with a view to bring new entertainment experiences to people around the world. The news comes as Epic prepares to duke it out with Apple in court over the iPhone maker's decision to remove Fortnite from the App Store. The two companies are due to hear or head to trial, excuse me, on May 3rd, and recently submitted court documents that show eye-watering cost of running the Epic Game Store. I'd like to see that document, considering they just gave away 3 games this week.
Yeah, apparently the amount of money. It was a story last week that we didn't actually talk about, but apparently they lost 181 million dollars in 2019, and projected loss of 273 million from Epic Games Store last year because of all the free
Jeez.
games they gave away. However, they didn't really care. They didn't really care that they did that. It didn't seem like it affected them at all. So
I
yeah,
guess not. I mean, we reported how many months ago that they just bought a shopping mall to turn into their new office?
Exactly. They're burning
So
cash everywhere, so let them keep burning it.
yeah,
Uh,
they must have money trees in their backyards or something. I don't know.
yeah. Well, what I'm curious about, especially with Sony's continued investment into this, is we know that Epic made a really crazy demo for the PlayStation 5 to show off new lighting effects, texture effects, particle effects, and such. To actually really showcase what the hardware can do, both in a sense of like visually, and then of course how the SSD and the SoC actually work together to be able to handle all
Mhm.
that stuff in real time. It's, and it really goes to show exactly that Sony is courting Epic in such a way, with the amount of money they throw it at, like they've thrown their way so far. It's like, could we actually see Sony pick up Epic at some point here in the very near future? Could Epic become a Sony first party studio in some way or some form?
Yeah, that's a scary thought considering, I mean, they just shut down their Japan studio. I mean, maybe they're courting them to replace the Japan studio.
Yeah, but like, can you think of any games from Epic that have been exclusive to PlayStation in the last 15, 20 years? Like, can you think of anything in particular that has been exclusive from them? Because I feel like most of this stuff has been multi-platform, except, of course, for Gears of
Not
War.
not
But
offhand. I mean, if I did some digging, I might be able to find one, but not offhand, I can't think of one.
let's see, exclusives for PlayStation.
Hmm.
I'm just looking here. List of exclusive games available. No. That's Epic Game Store. PS4 exclusives may come to the Epic Game Store. That's in 2019. Epic Game Store. Nope. Okay, so it doesn't really actually have, but it looks like where they're maybe focusing is because the Epic Game Store has carried some of those PlayStation releases that have been on PC so far, so like Horizon Zero Dawn.
Hmm.
Maybe that's the way that it's going, is it's more of just a partnership for distribution purposes, at least right now, because they like the storefront compared to the way Steam operates and the way Origin operates and what have you, that this is a way to do it.
Which is another insane statement because you think about it, back in the PS3 days, Sony had a partnership with Steam.
Mm-hmm.
They were the first ones that you could link a Steam account to, and you could communicate to your Steam friends. I mean, you weren't playing games with them, but you could like message them and stuff, if I remember correctly.
That sounds very familiar. I remember there was a lot of that, and then I think a lot of it too, especially like with the PlayStation 3, was because the PlayStation 3 could boot a Linux kernel as well too, and of course we know where
Right.
Gabe Newell sits with Linux. So I mean, look at what happened to the failed Steam boxes. So yeah,
Right.
okay. Well, yeah, I guess we'll have to see what comes of this investment here to see how Epic does things going forward, and whether or not maybe we'll actually see that here at the end of the year, that Sony announces they're going to buy Epic for how many ever billions of dollars that they want to. So
That'd be crazy.
who knows? Yeah, no kidding. But that is actually everything here in the news for us tonight. I think the only big things that were still going on this week is that Nintendo did have an indie showcase where they showed off a
Hmm.
bunch of new indie games. Of course, it looks like Fez is going to be coming to the Switch. There were a couple other games too. There was one that looks like some sort of like, not necessarily like time travel, but more like a kind of like reliving memories type puzzle adventure. Like this woman who's kind of like remembering memories from like being a kid and such.
Huh.
Um,
I saw a video
uh,
for a new Ollie Ollie that looked kind of interesting. That
yep,
you actually have
there was
like
that
mission
too.
objectives and stuff now, so I might check that one out.
Yep, there was that too. I recall that as well. So that's what it looks like. If you want to go see that, of course, the showcase video is up all over the place, so be sure to go check that one out. I don't really think there was much else that actually went on this week, though. Except Ubisoft did also confirm they will have their own showcase event to go along with E3. So they will be at E3, of course, but they're actually going to have their own standalone showcase event to go with it. So that means we'll have like a keynote or something from them where they'll show off their things. People come up on stage, since it's all virtual, and talk about whatever it is they're doing. Another Assassin's Creed game set in the Stone Age or whatever. I don't fucking know anymore. I don't know, but
I'm
No.
still waiting for a feudal time one, but we'll see.
Watch Dogs, the Sherlock Holmes version. I don't know.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm throwing it out there. But I think that is everything. Kyle, can you think of anything else?
Not offhand. No, I can't.
Okay. Well, for everybody, of course, watching, biggest thing is that once we're done here with the news, of course, Kyle and I, after several minutes of behind the scenes stuff here, getting things set up and ready to go, we will be hopping on to stream here very soon. Probably be playing a little bit more Overwatch like we did this last Wednesday. So if you want to tune in and check that out, Kyle will be streaming over on Twitch. I'm going to be changing over to YouTube because I don't like the way Facebook actually handles just 720p video. I looked at that playback there and it was like bleh. And so, I'd much rather at least get a little bit better quality out there for you. But who knows? Maybe it's my own fault. Maybe my quality is just terrible here too, and I just need to go buy a new computer. But I can't afford any computer parts right now.
Honestly, if you could, would you really want them? They're just
Yes.
way too overpriced. Way too overpriced.
I want a Ryzen 9 5950X. I need an X570 motherboard. Okay,
So
you know what?
overpriced.
You know what? Threadripper. I'm doing Threadripper. Okay, it's done. I'm doing Threadripper because I know I can buy those.
Oh, are you now?
I mean, only like
Okay.
$4,000 for the top one, but that's whatever. Anyway, of course, for everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to us. If you're watching us here on Facebook, make sure to hit that like button on our page so you know when we post updates when we go live. If you're on our YouTube, make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button there and the notification bell so you know when we drop videos and we go live there too. Of course, now we're back up on Twitch doing the streams there, so go search for the NPCs podcast. I'm sure we got the link here on one of our platforms. And of course, the thing we're known for, the thing we're loved for is the podcast, anchor.fm/the-npcs-podcast. Because it is just Kyle and I right now, we're kind of taking our step back in time to when we first started doing the recordings of the podcast back in 2019. And so that's what we got up for you there. We'll definitely try to get together this weekend to get you guys another one too. We got some, hopefully some very interesting things coming down the pipeline here after a discussion we had just the other day too. So we'll leave that hush hush for now, but tease you a little bit just to say it's hopefully a little bit of growth for us here as the NPC. So again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in with us. We will catch you guys all next week.
Laters.